I'm Melly.
I'm Chris.
And this is Beggars Believe, home of scams, shams, hoaxes, pranks, and charlatans. Stories that are true, but somebody's lying.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like we just recorded this yesterday. There was no gap at all.
None at all.
Nope.
No, here's the thing. Because of the way they're going to be released, the last episode is going to be the one with the gap. This one will be the one that's at a normal time frame.
Perfect.
Yeah, the vacation happened at the wrong time because audio issues.
Yeah, and mushroom people.
And mushroom people. Such as that happens. Together, whatever. We still haven't come up with a real name for these episodes.
No, but if anybody wants to workshop something and throw it at us,
yeah, email.
That'd be great. Email us.
I had a decent idea, and by the time I woke up fully, it had left. But I shouldn't trust decent ideas that I have while half asleep because they're usually pretty bad.
Start journal them again.
I did.
Where are they?
Okay, so I woke up the one time and I had written down in my journal, tie wine charms to tampons. And after that, I decided that whatever dreams or whatever thoughts I was coming up with at night were not, in fact, as brilliant as I thought they were.
So that mishmash that we're doing today,
exactly.
that mosh
mushroom mishmash.
That slamma jamma peanut butter jelly episode. Let's do it.
There you go. So you remember how in our last episode, the two hoaxers were both named Sergey?
Yes.
So we're starting us out for this story with two men named Stephen.
It's always a Steve or a Sergey. Always.
Always a Steve or a Sergey. Or probably two blokes named Stephen because this took place in Liverpool, England in the 90s. I am not going to attempt a Liverpool accent. Because,
I'm not either.
No, I will just insult some. You just had no problem doing a Russian accent.
Yeah. And?
I've seen Liverpool people when they respond to soccer. I don't want to.
Correct. Yeah, I don't need that.
Let's not do that. So these two would go into bars and clubs and walk up to drunk men. So pretend you are a drunk Liverpoolian, and they would say, "We're raising money for charity."
Okay.
And we need to collect something for charity.
Here's a fist.
No.
Okay.
We just need your socks.
I'm a drunk Liverpoolian.
Yes.
At the pub, and I'm approached by two men, both named Stephen.
Yes.
And they ask for a donation, and they just want my socks.
Yes.
At this point, they're getting them.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm this is the wildest, coolest thing I've heard.
Yeah. They
said,
have
my socks.
This is a fun little fundraiser. If we
They might be slightly pissed on, but take my socks.
Yeah. They said if we collect 300 pairs of socks, the charity would get 300 pounds.
Okay, I am sloshed to the wind, so I'm all in. I'm good on you, boys.
Exactly.
Good.
Exactly. Everyone there approaching is shit-faced, so they'd agree, take off their socks, and then they'd be like, "Hey, let's take a picture of you because you're donating these to charity." So they'd take a picture with their socks.
Just holding their socks.
Yeah, for this charity.
Okay.
There was no charity.
No, yeah, I got that part once I sobered up.
There's just two guys named Stephen, and their exceptional foot fetishes.
It went where I hoped it wouldn't go.
And people would ask them sometimes what kind of charity. Usually it's a cancer charity, but it's a charity. It's charitable. You're thinking this too much. Just hand over your socks for charity. Yeah.
And just ignore the comment about the toes.
Exactly. Yes. So they became known as the Southport Sockmen.
See, that sounds like a wonderful little football team.
Right.
And I would be out there every day supporting the Sockmen.
Yeah, exactly.
Until I saw the mascot.
See, my brain went more Muppet-ish, Oh,
I
it's
know.
the Sockmen, and they're the chorus in a children's show. Yeah, no.
Oh, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
It can be both.
There you go. Over the course of their scam, they managed to con an approximately 15,000 people into giving them the socks off of their feet.
15,000?
15,000. That is a lot of blood blisters from walking home sockless.
That's 30,000 socks. I'm bad at math, but I can do that math. That's 30,000 socks from a bunch of wasted blokes in Liverpool.
Who think that they are, in fact, giving them to a charity. And apparently not questioning how socks equals money. It's like the South Park
Yeah.
underwear gnomes.
Correct. Yeah, it's...
Question mark, profit. Mm-hmm.
So, what's this charity for? Gooners?
Yeah, it's very charitable, this charity for the... just give me your socks.
Yeah, this charity's
Are
coming...
those gargoyles? Come on, hand them over.
Yeah, it's coming along. Like,
Their
30,000 socks, Mel!
Their victims included 2 cops and a traffic warden.
I mean, okay, good for them.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know if you remember, but when I texted you, I said this case is going to knock your socks off.
As soon as you
Yeah.
started on this, I vividly saw that text in my brain again and went, oh God.
So there is a gap in reporting, and I hate it because I cannot find out what broke this case. I don't know if there was enough people reporting this that they finally investigated it or what. But the police ended up raiding their apartments. So Stephen Gawthorpe, this is where our 2 Stevens diverge.
All right.
Stephen Gawthorpe.
Kind of a left foot, right foot thing?
Yeah,
Is that what
exactly. You know, they're a matching pair, but not quite. One of them has a hole. Stephen Gawthorpe had taken each pair of socks, folded them up neatly with the picture of the order, and cataloged them, storing them in little baggies. Yeah, he had a full filing cabinet.
Now we're getting to, like, Silence of the Lambs kind of territory. This is like, it takes the socks off or it gets the hose again.
Then we have Stephen Bain. Stephen Bain just had socks everywhere. Described as an 18-inch thick carpet of socks with socks hanging from lampshades and socks even in the microwave.
So we've got like the Hannibal Lecter Stephen and we've got the Ed Gein Stephen.
Yes.
But in reality, they're just the odd couple.
They are.
It's just...
They're just a mismatched pair.
Of socks.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question. If somebody stole your socks, would you want them to be with the neat guy or the microwave messy guy?
Why do I have to choose? I honestly, like, I know how my OCD is. I want it to be the neat... I don't want it to be either of them, but if it has to be somebody, the neat guy. Because at least then they're tucked away, they're preserved. But then it's also got my photo with it, and I don't... No, the messy guy. I'm lost in the fucking sea of socks. Like, I don't want... No...
If you're in the microwave, I mean, if you microwave a dish sponge, it, like, cleans it, so maybe that's why they were in the microwave. I don't know. But there's a lot of, also mixed in from both places, they found a lot of homegrown porn, which probably shouldn't be a surprise at all at this point. So, both of them pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mass acts of gross indecency in the Liverpool Crown Court.
I am shocked.
They were not charged, though, for the Fake Charity Act, which is what I would think. This is like what
that's what I would have thought that it would have like really gotten them on.
Yeah.
Because the like acts of indecency, I think, would be so, especially
exactly.
at that time, minor.
This is what I can't find what broke the case, and like I said, this happened in the 90s. To me, the fact that you're collecting anything under the pretense of being for charity should have been...
the fraudulent
that doesn't make sense.
Of that, okay.
And I spent a lot of time trying to find this until I realized I hated myself for this.
Did you go ankle deep in research for this?
I did go ankle deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the police put out advertisements trying to get people to claim their stolen property, and not a single victim responded.
Yeah, you know what? Like, no.
No. So because no one wanted their socks back, the police donate them to the Salvation Army. So out there are people who went to Salvy and bought themselves a nice used pair of socks that were in some guy's microwave or like Rolodex.
They could still be out there, Mel. These socks could still be out there walking around in the world. There might be a sole survivor out there.
It's just mismatched out in the woods. So this is where Bain, our organized sock collector,
okay,
his situation gets weirder. Because they did the dumbest thing in the world. In prison, his job was to run the prison laundry, where he was known to take great interest in watching all the inmates' socks.
Oh God, the sock puppet like visual just got so much worse for me, Mel.
Yeah. After his prison sentence, Bain went on to join the Jehovah's Witnesses, but then he was thrown out of the religion.
Wait, back that up. This is a wild pipeline to Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, you know. But he was kicked out of the Jehovah's Witnesses for acts of gross sexual misconduct.
Again, I'm shocked.
Yeah, and somewhere someone was just organizing socks at a Salvation Army. Wow, we got a really good donation this month. I wish I could translate your look of a slight disappointment. I don't even know how to describe it.
I'm never a person that's at a loss for words.
Yeah, you are not. You are not. That wouldn't.
Okay.
That's good. Not buying socks from Salvation Army anymore?
Nope, turn hill and left.
Okay, yes. So I lied. I forgot. I actually have 3 short stories. This one's very short, though.
I mean, after that last one, I'm feeling kind of defeated, so...
It's okay. This one's not as bad. So, a 19-year-old kid in Nice, France decided to game a self-checkout system.
Okay, fair enough. Beat the system. I can applaud that.
So, the kid walked up to the scale on the produce section, keyed in the item as apples, and he took the sticker that came off for apples, put it on the item, walked out to the self-checkout, scanned it, paid, and left with a PlayStation 4.
Okay.
Which he got for the price of, like, 3 pounds of apples.
Apples, yeah.
He was a bit stupid about this, though. Flew too close to the sun and tried going back and stealing a second PlayStation this way, by which point they had wised up. This time caught. He had a theft of 300 euros and arrested him. Now the question is, why did he need 2 PlayStations?
Yeah, maybe he wanted a PlayStation 8.
No, he sold the first console to pay for a train ticket home and back again to steal the second PlayStation. And I have friends in France, and I need to ask what their mass transit costs are, because that doesn't seem right to me.
Because my other thing is, like, I can't imagine anywhere in like the United States, in America, where I could go somewhere that I could, like, easily access both apples and a PlayStation.
Walmart.
But, like, they usually walk it to the counter for you.
That's true.
Like, if it's a high-price item, like, that just blows my mind that I can walk in and be like, I'm going to get some apples, maybe a couple of grapes, toss a PlayStation 5 in the cart while I'm at it,
Milk, bread, Xbox.
Yeah, that storm's coming.
I know how people live their lives.
Correct.
So we're going to have a longer one.
All right.
This one is a sports one, so I hope you recovered from the New York Islanders episode.
I have not.
It's okay.
I'm still pucked up.
For me, it's that, well, first of all, right after that we went to Maine and everything was labeled Downeaster.
Yeah,
and I had
so
Downeaster and Alexa stuck in my head for like 3 weeks left.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Instead of one man scamming a league, we have a gang of people creating a fake league.
This sounds like a great movie, though.
Oh, it would be. So we're going to India. One of the most popular sports is cricket.
Yep. Thanks, colonialism and imperialism.
This is just in 2022. This was, like, very recent. Most recent case, actually, we've looked at it. So the major league over there is the Indian Premier League, which goes by the IPL.
Okay.
The IPL wrapped up their season for the year, and a YouTube channel just called IPL starts live streaming right after their season ends. So if you were really keen-eyed, you'd see that in this, they were claiming that the IPL stood for the Indian Premier Cricket League, which does not spell IPL, but that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
And if you were at all familiar with cricket, which I am not, there was something wrong with the game. The players were less than professional, might have even been clumsy. The camera shots were very close in, never really lingering on the players. And you might have noticed that players showed up in different games on different teams from, like, game to game. What happens was this gang purchased a Fear and Gujarat and set it up to look like a cricket pitch. They spray painted the lines, halogen lamps. There's high definition cameras. They brought bats and balls and t-shirts for a couple of different real teams. And then they hired day laborers who were normally, like, picking fruit and stuff, and said, we're going to pay you to play cricket for a day. And they're paying them higher than their normal day labor fee to come and play cricket. So of course these guys...
Yeah, of course I'd show up.
Yeah, but they were supposed to pretend to be professional cricket players. The umpire was the only one on the field who knew what was actually going on, who was in on the deal. And he ran around with this, like, walkie-talkie, but was also talking in an earpiece the whole time.
Oh my.
Enthusiastically signaling plays. In fact, he was described as overly enthusiastic. Meanwhile, somewhere in Russia, the other half of the scam is unfolding.
Mushrooms.
Not mushrooms this time. Russians might love mushrooms. Russians might love mushrooms. That's not what I meant to
say.
say.
The radio waves are getting to you now.
It is the radio waves, yeah. Russians aren't really fans of cricket, but there's lots of gambling in Russia. So scammers convinced the Russians that to bet on the matches that were being broadcast on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
The camera didn't show the bleachers because there were none. To sell the idea this was happening to a sold-out crowd, they downloaded crowd noise files. Like crowdnoise.wav.
Audience.
Exactly. Piped them through the broadcast. They also brought in a local who was known around town for doing a great impersonation of a cricket broadcaster who was very famous. And the umpire who was calling the match was being signaled with this earpiece on which way to score things to maximize the scammer profits. And he would signal the players to miss hits and stuff like that. And the footage would cut around the calls if it didn't match up to what the players were doing. They made semi-professional graphics to display the scores as the match unfolded. And the players were not cricket players. Some of them did not know how to play cricket, so they didn't know what they were doing. Bets poured in through the Telegram app, which shouldn't be surprising, because Telegram. But why from Russia? Well, first of all, betting on sports is illegal in India, so they had to move out.
You have to outsource.
And because cricket isn't popular in Russia, they were less likely to pick up on how weird everything was.
Right, yeah. I'm actually kind of fascinated to the degree of preparation and research for this whole scam. This is fascinating.
Part of what the one article that described it made me think more like Calvin Ball, though, because they weren't necessarily even following the rules of cricket. Right. It was just like, oh no, he tossed it over there. That's a 4-point foul miss. Check match mate, you know.
Field goal missed.
Exactly.
8 strikes before you're put in a penalty.
He totally violated a rule that only exists on the imaginary page 18. You know, It was very much, if things weren't going the way that they wanted it to go to maximize profit, they would just make up something. So they played 9 games like this. YouTube channel only had 250 subscribers, but that's still better than we have right now.
And also, like, there's somebody putting money on that. They kept going, so.
Yeah. And they were shut down by the police. None of the organizers were arrested. The players were just asked to provide information and weren't charged with anything, which I think is kind of the right call. Because,
yeah, I agree. Because, like, if you're just kind of like, hey, come look like you're playing cricket, I doubt they really told them any of the details of what was going on.
At that point, they're basically being like a non-union extra in a movie. You know?
Correct. Here's your sandwich for the day. Be happy you're here.
But actually, apparently, it was a fairly profitable thing. Yeah. Fake cricket. And I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a fake cricket match.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
That's crickets. Just crickets. Crickets and mushrooms.
Crickets and mushrooms.
Tell you what.
And socks.
If we... we got off on the wrong foot with that one.
That would be our first merch.
If we don't have 250 subscribers by the end of the year, we're just going to start a fake sports league.
Okay. Can it be like something ridiculous that we're making up the rules as we go?
Correct. We're going to basically pull a basketball.
Okay.
And mishmash stuff and revolutionize athletics.
Sounds great.
I mean, well, we don't stop there. We take it to the Olympics.
I am the least athletic human being ever, so that would be great.
We will be able to be.
Everybody loves an underdog in a sport that they've just created themselves.
Correct. You know what? Pickleball's out there now. We can do anything, Mel.
And we can get the Russians to bet on it.
Correct. I like. No, and not anyone from Liverpool either. I'm sorry.
No people from Liverpool. No Russians. So yeah, that's what I got for today. 2 little ones, and we're going to be starting on spooky season.
Yeah.
And I have an entire episode of 3 stories that are like literally just geared towards you.
All right.
And your interests, just because.
I am so ready.
And I have an episode that's going to be geared more my interests. So.
All right.
But it's going to be a very skeptical truth spooky season.
So X-Files.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Yeah, all right.
Ginger, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say we've got a Scully.
Yeah,
so.
Scully is good. I could do worse.
If you've liked what you've heard, or you'd like to recommend something that we should look into and speak on, you can always reach out to us at beggarsbeliefpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at beggarsbeliefpodcast, or feel free to please listen, subscribe, and review, 5 stars no less, Beggars Belief on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, look for us on YouTube.
Yay.
And from this side of the microphone, remember, don't take people's socks for charity.
And don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah, and that one.
That's